Alright, Purple Yeti is back. It's another roar. Hey, how's everybody doing? First month of college football is over. How did your team do? Mine did pretty good, and now with this tasty t-shirt, we got another team to think about this week. I mean, yeah, competition-wise, that's about right. Although I would say that Iowa State and even West Virginia will be a lot tougher. But I'm still thinking about the Wildcats Pac-Manning along and just chomping up the competition. I got Sprite Zero with me. Because I think that's how many points Kansas is going to get this weekend. Talking smack right now, right? Could come back and bite me in the roar behind. But I'm feeling pretty good. If anything, Charlie Weiss will have his team up for this. I think he really wants to bring the rivalry back, get the kids focused on something. I don't know how focused they're going to be when you have somebody like Dayne Crist at the helm. But I expect it to be competitive because really two things. I think K-State will be playing down a little bit this week and Kansas will be playing up. We'll find out. You know, Bill Snyder, you know, he cares about beating Kansas, so I'm sure he's well aware of all the smack talk that Kansas is trying to hide or passively aggressively put out. That's that. Hey, Kansas State had a bye week, but guess what? There was more college football going on over the weekend. So what happened? Well, we found out that Baylor and West Virginia have no defense whatsoever. Teams like Kansas State and, dare I say, Texas are built perfectly for that kind of team to beat. The offense is bang bang, but the defense is so lame. You could probably just pound it out every 3 or 4 yards, keep the offense off the field. Best defense. So the offense may be the best defense in those games, but that's a couple weeks down the road. Baylor and West Virginia played each other, and Geno Smith, monster numbers. Yeah, he's good. He's the Heisman favorite now. He's like RG3 Part 2 or RG6. So we're going to find out if West Virginia can keep the couches burning next week when they take on Texas, who had a pretty good showing against Oklahoma State. Although what we really learned in that game is that there's some ups and downs for Texas as well. Ups being David Ash. I mean, they might actually have an honest-to-goodness quarterback now. Downs would be the defense did not show up at all. Now, that said, they're out 2 starters on defense, so I don't know if that has that big of an impact on that side of the field. They probably should have done a little bit better against Oklahoma State, but Oklahoma State was the is the Big 12 champions from last year, so you can't really sell them up the river just because Blackman and Whedon are out the door. So, you know, lessons learned on that one. We'll find out Saturday night here in Austin, seeing West Virginia coming to DKR to take on the Texas Longhorns. That will be a shootout. If Texas defense is really up for it, they might be able to slow them down, but I wouldn't be surprised to see some kind of ball control coming from the other side of the field. You may get a blueprint to beat West Virginia. But then again, Texas still can't tackle, so who knows? Tavon Austin shakes one off and then he runs one off. It could happen. So that's coming up this weekend. But what other games that I watched Saturday included Baylor and West Virginia, Texas, Oklahoma State. I got to watch a little bit of the Battle of the Undefeateds that no one knew in Texas Tech and Iowa State. Iowa State's good. They're really good. but Steele Jantz, sorry guy, I think you cost the team on that one. And props to Texas Tech for being undefeated. Are they back? Are they coming back? I mean, they're two pretty good teams. We'll find out when Tech goes play somebody else, and I don't know who the hell Iowa State's playing. But, I don't know. Will Texas Tech stay undefeated? That's a pretty good question. Why don't you let me know down below and drop some comments while I get illuminated. Because it's a toss-up for me. I really still don't know who Texas Tech has in terms of players. So that's not going to help. Iowa State, I mean, and they got Klein, they got the linebackers, they got all that, but you know, Steele Jantz, and that's about it. Oh, my mistake. Yeah, Oklahoma's going to Texas Tech. Had to take a sip of that one. We'll find out how real Texas Tech is this weekend. The team that beat Oklahoma knocked them off their undefeated skid last year, and Oklahoma's going to Texas Tech. You gotta wonder if they're thinking just a little bit about that game from last year. I know Landry Jones is. So we'll find out actually if Oklahoma is for real too. So that's gonna be quite the matchup. What else I watched? I watched TCU and SMU for the old Iron Skillet. Yes, it's a rivalry. Please keep passing trophies around. That makes college football even much more enjoyable. So you go, Horned Frogs, and they did. It was raining, but they made it. They punched it out. They didn't look too great. I think that's another Are You For Real team. So TCU this weekend hosts Iowa State. So that should be another close one. We got some great matchups this weekend, except Kansas State. Sorry, Jayhawks. If you keep it close, you know, do it. Let's make it competitive. But on paper, that's kind of a weak-ass matchup. So let's find out. Let's hope the Wildcats don't overlook the Jayhawks this weekend. So, what other games happened? That I watched? I watched a little bit of Georgia, Tennessee. Was a little interested in watching Tyler Bray choke a game away. He kind of reminds me of Tony Romo or Jay Cutler. Just good enough to start on the field, but not that really great of a decision maker. So he'll probably have a career in the NFL once he's done. Who else? I don't really remember much else. I watched a little bit of Nebraska, Wisconsin, but not worth talking about here. So those are the games next weekend. I wonder who. Is it all 5 teams playing? I think Oklahoma State is off. I'm pretty sure they are. Yep. So Oklahoma State's off. They probably need a break. But there's other games coming up this weekend that I'm excited about, including Notre Dame and Miami. I might root against my second favorite team in Notre Dame, just to bump up Miami's record. Because don't look now, they're 4-1, 3-1. They might be 4-1, with their only loss being to Kansas State. That looks really good. So that's another doozy. Top 10 matchups, there's a lot of them in the SEC. LSU, Florida, blah, blah, blah. Oh, that's about it, actually. Oh, Georgia, South Carolina. Okay, that's going to be interesting. Man, there's a lot of good games this weekend. I may or may not watch it because I will have company. The Yeti hosts with the most. So we'll find out what we'll be watching, but you damn right I'm going to keep my eyeballs on the scores. News-wise, nothing really. Kind of a boring week of football. I'll take a sip of my straw. Think about the delicious, tasty sliders I had. Don't know if I'm going to make any food either. That's another question we'll get answered this weekend. But it's game week for Kansas State. Game week for a lot of teams out there. There's a lot of high hopes. A lot of high hopes in the Big 12. I think what we're finding out is that people can score in the Big 12. Counter argument, defense. Yeah, I know. But it's a classic argument. That's why it's a good thing that they paired up with the SEC. Because the SEC is all defense and no offense whatsoever. And it's the other way around in the Big 12. And that's why you're seeing the Champions Bowl. That's why you're seeing matchups like that, like LSU and TCU next year. Then Oklahoma State might be playing somebody. Arkansas maybe? Somebody. But the point is that there's a lot of non-conference matchups between SEC and Big 12 teams happening more and more often. That's a good thing. I mean, geographically, it makes sense. Competitively, it makes even more sense. So it's a good little marriage between the two teams. Let's hope they keep it up. But that's about all I got this week. 4 games I watched into the book. Man, big games coming up this weekend. Hey, that was week 5. We're going to roll into week 6. A couple more weeks, we're halfway through the season. Pretty fast, isn't it? We'll slow down, take a moment, take a sip, y'all. And next weekend, have fun, and I'll see you.